VR headsets are not for everyone. They're expensive and they generally require both a very powerful PC and frankly an interest in the relatively few really good VR games out there. After all, the difficulty finding these diamonds in the rough is sort of why this show exists. But Facebook looks to change all of that with the Oculus Quest 2, a brand new, as of when I wrote this anyway, headset that starts at the ridiculously low price of $300. That's ridiculously low when it comes to VR headsets, trust me. Greetings folks and welcome to Horns and a Headset. You can call me Horns and I'm here to show you the best and worst VR has to offer. Today, we're not talking about a game, but rather the headset itself. Is the Oculus Quest 2 the gift from the gods that it seems to be? Let's take a look at the pros and the cons. Actually, before we do that, let's address the Minotaur in the room just to head off any angry comments about me forgetting about it. Don't worry guys, I'm getting there. Using the Oculus Quest 2 requires a Facebook account. It's up to you whether that's an issue, but it's a big deal that other people have talked about at length, so I just wanted to mention it here before we get started.
The pros.
If we're talking positive aspects of the Quest 2, we have to start with that price. $300 for the 64GB model is still a lot of money, I know, but look at it in comparison to other headsets on the market. The HTC Vive Cosmos goes for $700, and the Valve Index is $999. And granted, these are more powerful headsets that are tethered to even more powerful PCs, but even the original Quest 64GB model is now going for almost $600 on Amazon new, at least at the time of writing. And given that it's a standalone unit, you also don't need a $5,000 computer to actually use it well. Plus, the nice thing about the Quest 2 is that if you do have that powerful computer, you can still connect the Quest to it via the Oculus Link cable, or more likely a cheaper equivalent. So while the games available on the Quest itself may be limited, it can be used for so much more. It functions quite well as a tethered headset, and works well with any game you throw at it. The display is top-notch for consumer-level product with no visible screen door effect at all. Everything is clearer and cleaner than even on the Rift S or the original Vive. All of this to say, both the native games and your PC games will look good. Not quite Vive Cosmos good, but still amazing for the price. It's also more comfortable to use than a typical tethered headset since you can actually stream the games from your PC wirelessly to the Quest using third-party software. And that's important, because playing VR games without wires is an absolute game changer. Yes, I know, the original Quest had room scale without wires too, but I never had the original Quest. What I did have was a Vive and a Rift S, and my immersion was always ruined by the cable. It would get caught on things, get tangled up all over the place, and nearly trip me if I wasn't careful. It's easier to trip hooves than feet, I realize, but trust me, it's bad for humans too. I play VR games far more now than I used to, because it's so easy to just pick up the headset and play. I can't overstate this. Wireless VR is just so much better, no matter how you slice it.
The cons.
The biggest con for the Quest 2, as far as some people are concerned at least, is the aforementioned Facebook account requirement. But we already discussed that, so let's move on. Instead, let's discuss the battery life. I don't mean the controllers, those are great, I'm talking about the headset. It really isn't amazing, lasting only a few hours. This is definitely where corners were cut in order to reduce the price. Now, granted, I've never had it die on me in one session. It's hard to keep a headset on for that long. The more likely issue you run into is that you have to charge it whenever you're not using it, because if you don't, your next session will be cut short. The straps on the Quest 2 are another cut corner. Rather than using the easy and effective halo design of the Rift S, which admittedly not everyone loved, Oculus opted for a more traditional straps, and they just don't work as well for me. There are two reasons why I bring these things up together. First, they're really the only ways in which the Quest 2 is worse than the tethered Rift S, which is what it's replacing alongside the original Quest. The Rift S had a better strap, and since it's tethered, obviously battery life was not anything to worry about. Second, both of these can be remedied with the Elite Strap with Battery, a terribly named $130 accessory. Again, these are the prices you pay for such a cheap headset. The other price you pay is, of course, power. I said it earlier, and I'll say it again now, this is not the most powerful headset out there. Major tethered headsets these days are incredibly powerful, and they're attached to incredibly powerful computers. As a standalone device, the options on the Quest are limited. You won't see games the size of Half-Life Alyx or Lone Echo on here, though a lot of VR classics have made their way onto the device. And even if you connect it to a gaming PC for those games, they obviously won't look as good as they would on a more powerful headset. This is very much the consumer option, not the super hardcore option. And that's about it. Unless you're willing to pay hundreds more for better visuals, the Oculus Quest 2 is the best headset to buy. It's easy to use, it's comfortable, it's wireless, and it's surprisingly compatible. In the grand scheme of things, the imperfections are worth it for the opportunity for just about anyone to get into VR. I understand the fears of those who don't want to give Facebook their information, but honestly, I'm not too worried about it. Facebook already had all of my information before this. As far as I'm concerned, this is the way the VR becomes mainstream, or at least inches closer to it, and that's a great entry point for those who haven't tried it yet. So, that's the verdict on the Oculus Quest 2, the headset I'll be using for this show going forward. Until next time, the horns stay on, but the headset comes off.